What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Last Week in the NBA. This is the series where I give you a recap on everything that happened this last week in the NBA. And it was the trade deadline. It was a very, very exciting week. So we got a lot to cover. We got rookies to look at, standings, a whole bunch of news. Let's get into it. And that brings us back here to the spreadsheets, because it always brings us back to either the spreadsheets or like Bleacher Report or something like that on this channel, right? But for those of you unfamiliar, this is a spreadsheet that I made in order to kind of help articulate and visualize this series, give it a little bit of a facelift and everything. It's a pretty cool thing at the end of the day. I like building my spreadsheets and everything. But anyway, we got a lot to cover in this video. We're going to talk about the top performers of this last week. We're going to take a look around the association, see who's playing well. We have a bunch of news. You look at all these tabs up here. This is giving me anxiety how many tabs are going on up here. We have a rookie report to go over, a standings update, and man, much more. Stay tuned. And look at how easy it is to stay tuned, because we're going to jump right into things. The first player I want to highlight from this last week is actually Jordan Clarkson, a player that you probably don't anticipate having on this list right now. But this last week for Jordan Clarkson, 25 points per game, almost 4 assists, almost 4 rebounds, shot at 47% from the field, 50% from 3 throughout 3 games. Now look, Utah Jazz, not very good. Utah didn't make a ton of moves during the trade deadline. They were a supporting piece, which we kind of figured. And you know what? They stayed pretty quiet. Overall, Jordan Clarkson did stay around. Probably wasn't a huge market for him whatsoever, but this dude can still go get buckets when you need him to. And so I'm very curious more so what happens to Jordan Clarkson like after this season, right? Like, is he going to be somewhere else? Is he going to be back in Utah? Utah's got a bunch of other young guards that they're kind of trying to develop right now on the team, and this guy could help out a championship contender in some capacity, right? Because it's important to have those kind of spark plug players, and there's a big part of me that thinks, okay, if you put Jordan Clarkson on a better team, like things probably do start to ramp up a little bit for him again, because we could take a look at his stats throughout this season, and you know, it's maybe like nothing to write home about, but it's what you expect out of a Jordan Clarkson, right? Like 17-ish points a game, efficient from 3, not always efficient from anywhere else, but you know, 26 to 28 minutes a game for a 6th, 7th man type of dude. Still got a lot of value in the NBA, probably on a cheaper contract or something next year, but you know, want to give a shout out to Jordan Clarkson because he has been balling as of late. Next player we want to highlight here is Trey Murphy III, who, look, we highlighted him recently and things are only going up for the boy. Brandon Ingram is gone. He's out of his way now, and Trey Murphy just continues to hoop. This last week, almost 29 points a game, 6 assists, almost 5 rebounds, getting a steal and a half, almost a block, shot at 53% from the field, 54 from 3. Ignore the plus minus because the Pelicans are really bad. Look, injuries, right? That's always going to be part of it. But the development that we're seeing out of Trey Murphy and the creation skills that he's having, or that he's getting the chance to show off, because he talked a lot about that in the offseason. He's like, look, I'm really trying to become more of like an all-around playmaking like scorer in the NBA. Somebody that's getting the ball to other people, right? I'm using my own dribble moves to get myself shots instead of waiting for catch and shoot opportunities. Because this guy's always been like a good shooter. He's a high flyer. Like, he's got a lot of like the natural gifts to things, but he was like, I need to work on the intangibles a little bit more. And we're starting to see that in a lot of his creating and stuff. And look, there's not many guys that can jump that high, shoot like this, and now just score overall. I mean, 23 points per game on the year, pretty efficient basketball overall. He's playing a ton of minutes on a really bad basketball team. So, hey, credit to him. Like, his rotation is changing constantly. That's a hard thing to manage as well when you're playing with different dudes all the time. He's been injured a bit himself. So we want to give a lot of credit to Trey Murphy, man, because it's been an awesome season for him. The Pelicans have so much like interesting talent on this team to build around. It's just, can they all just ever stay healthy? But you know what, let's actually keep talking about the Pelicans. And what do I mean by that? Well, what I mean is the next player we're talking about is actually Zion right here. Look at that smile, man. I love that smile. In this last week, 27 points per game, like, as well, 4 assists, 5 rebounds, getting over almost 2 steals a game, shooting at 60% from the field. Ignore the 3-point percentage. It's not really a thing he does. He was actually a net neutral for this really bad team. When Zion's in the game, things are going well. We can take a look at Zion's numbers for the year. 24 points per game, really efficient from the field. Ignore the 3-pointer. It's not something he really takes. But when Zion's on the court, good things tend to happen. I mean, he's a -1 on the year for himself in just 16 games, right? In under 30 minutes. But this is not a good basketball team. Everybody's hurt. Like, he's hooping, man. And he's looking slimmer. He's looking trim. Like, he's got a good attitude. He's not playing like in like back-to-back games or anything like that. It seems like he wants to, but they're trying to keep him healthy. They know this is a wash season anyway. But this is still one of the best players in the NBA, man. It's important to remember all the other things are good context, right? For Zion, it's things to talk about. All the things happening off the court and the injuries, everything. Yep. it's all part of it, but this is still a top 10 player in the NBA when he's healthy, and any team would kill to have Zion Williamson. Now, we did just see Luka Doncic go for next to nothing, right? I don't want to say next to nothing. Anthony Davis is really, really good. I know, but you guys understand, right? Like, Zion Williamson is a generational talent, and I'm not just saying that. Like, dude is unstoppable when he wants to be, and that's without being a good three-point shooter. So, I want to give a lot of credit to Zion and the couple Pelicans that are trying to keep things afloat right now, but it's hard. It's very hard. Last guy we want to highlight this week, if I can actually spell his name correctly, is Michael Porter Jr. Michael Porter Jr. has been hooping, and I'm so happy for this. Like, you guys have no idea why I'm so happy about it, but Michael Porter Jr. this last week, in 3 games, 35 points per game. Michael Never Swing the Rock Porter almost got you 2.5 assists a game. That's awesome for him. Almost 9 rebounds, getting you about a steal a game, almost a block a game. 64% from the field, 59% from 3, plus 21. The Nuggets are rolling right now, and Michael Porter Jr. is a big reason why. He's the second best player in this team. It is Michael Porter Jr. without a question. It's important to remember, he was like undoubtedly the best player in his high school class and everything before his injuries. Like, dude was an absolute monster. Obviously fell a bunch due to his back injuries, and it was a slow start to his career, but dude's been healthy. He's picking it up, knock on wood that maintains itself. But it's just, this dude can get buckets. And then I hear people talking about Nuggets fans all the time. You guys are dumb sometimes. Y'all are so dumb. I see Nuggets fans going like, oh, we should trade Michael Porter Jr. for this. No, I keep telling you guys, no. He fits perfectly next to Jokic. Like, he's the exact player you need next to him. His off-ball defense is like one of the biggest reasons you guys win basketball games, because I know you guys see his clunky feet sometimes where there's a car alarm going off. Living in the city, I tell you. But I know his on-ball defense, like, you see his feet wobbling sometimes when a quick point guard gets in front of a 6'10 dude or whatever, and he can't stay in front of him, and you guys go, oh my gosh, he can't play. Shut up. Look in the mirror. You're dumb. You're a dummy. Michael Porter Jr. is so good. You want him on your basketball team. Let's clap it up for MPJ right now, and I love that he, like, never passes the basketball. It makes me so happy. Dude just shoots that shit, and I know it makes Jokic so happy. But anyway, those are the guys we wanted to highlight this week. Let's go take a look around the association. All right, so we're up to 33 games to qualify right now. That's a little bit under 2/3 of the season right now, because there's been, about 52 games, I'd say, at this point for the average team. Shots to qualify, as always, you need to shoot at least 5 shots a game to make the field goal percentage leaders. You need to take at least 3 shots to be on the 3-point percentage leaders. Our points per game scores are still Shea and Giannis is the 2 people kind of above the 30 right now. You have Jokic. I mean, LaMelo would probably be up here, but he hasn't played in many games. You got Jokic here, Maxey, who's, the efficiency's starting to go up a little bit more. Anthony Edwards, they've been running right now, and we'll talk about that. Kevin Durant still, Jason Tatum, and Devin Booker. So those are your points per game leaders. If you look around the NBA at your assist leaders, we do have a new name on the list that we haven't seen in a couple weeks. We still have Trae Young, Jokic as always. You know what? I feel like I need to pull Nikola Jokic up right here so you guys can see that he is everywhere. He is everywhere on this list. It's nuts. A great week for him as well. I try to keep it different and keep other names in these weekly recap things, but it could be Jokic every single week as a player to highlight. But James Harden is now up on this list, so congratulations, James Harden. That's usually a thing for him. The rebounding leaders stays the same, and I'd be shocked if this list changed at any point during the season. It's still Sabonis, who can't believe he's not on an all-star team. That's crazy. Karl-Anthony Towns. The rebounding's been down a little bit recently, but, is what it is. You got Jokic, Zubats, and Giannis. Awesome. Steals per game. Dyson Daniels. He did a little breakdown that you guys should go watch online where he talks about, the art of stealing and getting around screens and everything. I think you guys don't understand, how much processing goes into playing basketball. And it's, unconscious processing. It's so interesting. So really, really cool to see him talking about that stuff. Actually, stuff that I've heard a lot of from my own, college days and everything. We had a coach that was very defensive oriented. We did not practice offense at all. And so I've just seen a lot of that stuff already. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, obviously, Tyrese Maxey, Tari Eason, cool to see him on the list, and then Jokic again, because Jokic is just awesome. And then you'd see a bunch of other Thunder players below this because they're so good at that. Victor Wembanyama, best defensive player potentially ever incoming. Walker Kessler, yep, he's big as shit. Anthony Davis, new member of the Dallas Mavericks. Congratulations to him. Daniel Gafford's been awesome. Good to see him on the list. And Brook Lopez. Cool, not seeing a Miles Turner on there anymore. Is that because of the amount of games being played? No. But Chet would be on the list, so important context there. Field goal percentage leaders, Walker Kessler doing awesome. Jalen Duren is back up to second on this list. Jared Allen, yep, he's just playing off of all the studs that are on their team. They now have DeAndre Hunter on the team, which is crazy. Daniel Gafford here, and I believe Derek Lively would probably be on this list. Yep, that's true, but he's just fallen below the games to qualify listing. And then Rudy Gobert up on the list now. Wow, Rudy, where did that come from? Where are we? What are we looking like for Rudy Gobert stats for this season? Obviously, the 65%, 10, 11 points per game, 10 rebounds, a block and a half. Fair enough. Things have been going a lot better since Julius Randle went down. We're not rooting for injuries. We're not. I know Timberwolves fans wish he would have been traded, but, you know, our three-point percentage leaders, we've got Luke Kennard. You know what's really funny about this? So these are your best three-point shooters in the NBA right now, and these are, like, qualifying numbers as well. So, like, these are not just, like, bad statistics. None of these guys are in the three-point contest, I don't think. I haven't actually looked yet, but I'm pretty sure they're not, and we're going to talk about the three-point contest later, but none of these guys are featured in there, which is kind of dumb in my opinion, but whatever. Luke Kennard leading the NBA right now with 47%. Nikola Jokic finally not shooting 50% anymore. He only shot 41% from three this week. Come on, Jokic, get it together. Taurean Prince continues to be wet from outside. John Collins, the surprising name that continues to be there. It was kind of a surprise that we didn't see John Collins get moved at the deadline, but also I think the Jazz are just using the logic of, okay, we're going to use him during the offseason because somebody's going to want him, and it'll be even more favorable to trade for him at this point. He's coming off a good season, so let's just wait. Let's make sure we get exactly what we want this offseason. I know the Jazz are really prioritizing this offseason as a kind of an infraction point for their franchise again, so they always do things really smart there, so good for them. And then Keon Ellis, who continues to just be a great 3-and-D player for the Kings. There you go. That's our look around the association. Let's break down all of this news. A lot of trade deadline stuff. Alrighty, so like I said, we got a lot of news to cover and talk about here. We're not going to cover every single trade at the trade deadline. If you want to, I have a video on my channel about it, where is it? Yeah, it's this trade deadline recap right here. It's got a nice little pretty thumbnail and everything. Go click on it. It's yellow. It should attract you to the thumbnail, right? I don't know. That's just going to be the logic that I use. The first trade that we have to talk about, De'Aaron Fox and Zach LaVine got moved. And you know what? There was a third team involved with this, which are the Chicago Bulls. They didn't get any good players back in the trade, and they didn't get back any good assets either. So just an FYI into that. But De'Aaron Fox is now on the Spurs after he basically put a chokehold on the Kings, being like, look, I'm leaving this team one way or another very, very soon, so you might as well try to get something for me. And the Spurs just sat there very like all evil and maniacal, and they were like, well, we're not going to give you much for him because we know he's coming here at some point anyway. They really did not give up much for him. They gave up some picks that were not all that valuable to them, some players that were not all that valuable to them, and they went and got De'Aaron Fox, who he is actually injured now. Well, he's going to keep playing, but he's bracing for off-season surgery. I believe it's on his shooting arm or his shooting hand or something like that. And so his percentages haven't been great since he got there. I mean, we can take a look at Fox right now and how he played this week. Yeah, it's not all that great. Overall, they changed the picture already. That's very cool. Look, numbers still very good and everything. We're not going to overreact about a week of basketball or whatever, but it's going to be something to monitor, right? And look, this season is not about the Spurs being good anyway, right? Like, they basically just got in advance. They knew they were going to get him at some point. They've got him on the team now. He gets to practice with Chris Paul, and he gets to play with Wemby. If this team doesn't even make the play-in, we're not tripping anyway because they can go get a top-tier talent to add to this team. Very, very exciting for them. The Kings got Zach LaVine. I actually think the Kings did pretty well in this, all things considered, so good for them. The Bulls, nope, bad. You guys probably saw I posted a video yesterday that I finished recording 15 minutes ago, where I just kind of ranted about the Bulls. If you want to go watch it and watch me be sad, cool, go there. Maybe you'll feel a little bit better about your team if it's not going well. Then we had a Kyle Kuzma for Chris Middleton trade, which I think the logical basketball fan really understands this one. They're like, yep, the upside to Kyle Kuzma is a little bit higher, right? You gave up Chris Middleton, who has been playing better since coming off the bench, but he is pretty injury prone at this point. The defense isn't really there at this point. He's just kind of slow and stuff. And look, the ceiling's just not very high for him at this point. They move AJ Johnson in the deal as well to the Wizards, who they just kind of got him, or the Wizards just kind of get to have him. He was a first-round pick. I don't think he's that interesting of a prospect personally. I know Bucks fans are like, oh no, the future and everything. I don't think he was going to be the future. And look, you're trying to win basketball games right now. You have a good basketball team. Go try to win some games right now. Kyle Kuzma's debut was kind of interesting. Overall, I wonder if they have an updated picture for Mr. Kuzma here. Do we? No, of course not. Why would they do that for him? No, it hasn't been pretty so far, but I mean, you are seeing him trying to create and everything with the second unit. They're not starting him. I'll be curious to see if that maintains itself. I wouldn't be surprised if they bring him off the bench, but Overall, we're curious. I think this does have a good upside for the Bucks, but it's risky. I won't tell you that it's not risky. Then we have the really interesting one. We have the Jimmy Butler trade and extension, right? Oh my goodness. Jimmy Butler goes over to the Warriors. There's a bunch of other details that, like I said, go watch my other video if you want to see all the details of it. But the interesting thing is Jimmy Butler did get moved from the Heat. He's now on the Warriors, and he dominated last night. Like, he was looking really, really good. Him and Steph are talking about how they're like the opposite type of players from each other, and it's really, really fun to play off each other already. If you're in the Western Conference, I feel like you should just be a little bit worried, and here's why. When I look at this team on paper, I don't get all that excited. I'm like, okay, yeah, like they've got Steph, they've got Jimmy, Dre is still cool. They've got other pieces on this team. Quentin Post, who we'll talk about, is starting to play better for them, the rookie. But you look at the team, it's not anything all that crazy, right? But I've read this book before. I have read this book many times. Jimmy Butler has done such crazier things, and when he's determined, like, this seems like I'm telling you like an Aesop's fable or something like that, but like this just happens, right? Heat fans, tell everybody, it just happens, right? Where things just go well, and Jimmy Butler just wills teams to things. But look, I don't know. I'm just telling you, I'd be concerned because look, like, it'd be insanity if you didn't watch them at the very least, right? And you're like, what's happening? Is something going to transpire here? I don't know. I'll be curious to see. Taking a break from trades, Lonzo Ball got a little extension for the Bulls. He got what? It was like 2 years, like $20 million basically. Lonzo Ball coming back from some tough injuries and everything, playing some okay basketball this year. He has been shooting a lot better, like, as of late, which is exciting. You're starting to see the numbers start to go back up again. You're seeing the production be there. I'm cool to have him on the team going forward. I still don't know what the Bulls' direction is overall, but I am happy to have Lonzo still on the team because he is one of my favorite players in the NBA overall. And it's not just because he's on the Bulls. Like, I promise you it's not. The next thing that we have to talk about is Brandon Ingram did end up getting traded. He got traded to Toronto, which a lot of us were very confused by. They didn't really give up anything at all to go get him. It was like a Pacers pick for next year, which probably not that great of a pick. They give up Bruce Brown and Kelly Olynyk, guys that weren't a part of the future really anyway. And they get a player that's a borderline all-star player. I mean, taking a look at Brandon Ingram this year and all the, he's been a part of the Pelicans injuries and everything, but 22 points per game, 5 and 6 almost a steal a game, getting you half a block, shooting well from three this season. Like, this is a good basketball player overall. There's a lot of things he can do. I think people are confused because Toronto's not very good. They're like, why are they taking a player here right now? And what we kind of settled on, which, by the way, go join the Discord if you haven't. Links, as always, are in the description. You get to choose your favorite team when you're on there and have that displayed on there. I think it's a cool thing. We're talking hoops on there all the time. Like, if I go on my phone right now, I guarantee you, yep, I've got at least one notification. It's from Matrix. Of course it's from Matrix. But no, we're talking about stuff on there all the time. But something we kind of concluded on there is like, look, they just got a good player for basically nothing. They're doing economics right now. They'll sign him to an extension or whatever because they basically got him for free. Like, they just didn't give up much to get him. He's going to be hurt for most of the season probably still anyway, so he's not going to really help them win any games. Is the fit of him and Scotty Barnes odd? Yeah, like, it's a weirdly built team right now, but why not? Why not just take the more valuable asset at the end of the day? But I think a lot of people, too, are looking at this team and like, okay, we've got a core of Scotty Barnes, Brandon Ingram, RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickley, and Jakob Poeltl. That's an interesting five. That's not a bad five-man lineup, right? The bench is pretty meh. Grady Dick is in there as well. He's shooting the ball. That's cool, right? Not as great at the rim, actually pretty bad by the rim, which is, whatever. Well, he's young. He's going to keep developing and everything. We're like, what is the true upside of this team? Like, is this like a 6 seed at best, right? That's kind of what it feels like. There's not like an enormous upside, right? You got a lot of good players. You don't have any real great players. Well, if this team gets a Cooper Flagg and Ace Bailey, a Dylan Harper or something, and then you got that supporting cast around that big of a talent, then you might have something right there. Then maybe you got something. So I guess we'll see. Well, the next thing we were going to talk about was the Mark Williams-Dalton Connect shocking trade. But as of yesterday, this trade has been rescinded. So Mark Williams broke a lot of news and everything because he got traded to the Lakers. We were like, wow, we didn't even think Mark Williams was available. They traded Dalton Connect and Cam Reddish and 2 first-round picks to get him because, look, Mark Williams is a pretty good basketball player overall. Like, let's pull up old Marky Mark right here. Very efficient, 16 points per game, almost 10 rebounds, getting you almost a block and a half in just 25 minutes, right? And yes, you can look at the defense. The defense has been not there. It's not because of talent. It's an effort thing, like almost entirely, right? He's a young player playing on a bad and disorganized franchise. I can kind of look past that. Like, I understood the logic. You throw him on the Lakers where he's got motivating people around him all the time. His job's going to be really easy. I bet you it improves. Totally reasonable. The thing was, we were like, one, why did the Hornets want to move him, right? We're like, okay, they're kind of doing a rebuild within a rebuild. It kind of makes some sense. They've got a new GM and everything, kind of new ownership group and everything. They're trying to build things their way. Cool. I understand that and everything. We all concluded they must not trust his injuries because he is hurt all the time. Like, he is hurt often, and you know what? This trade happens. It makes a ton of sense. They need a lob threat for Luka. The Lakers need a center. They pay out to get him. I think the Hornets actually were very smart in this deal. They were like, hey, we know how desperate they are. We can capitalize on this. We don't believe in this guy long term, so there we go, right? They move him. He gets to Los Angeles. They give him a physical, and they fail him bad, from what I understand. Like, they're like, this guy is just about to fall apart. Like, this isn't good, y'all. Like, this guy, I don't believe his body's going to maintain itself. So they send him back. Like, basically what happens is you can put clauses in these trades that say, like, hey, if they don't pass certain aspects of these physicals, we can abolish this trade. And that's what happened, right? And so Mark Williams gets sent back to the Hornets. That's been awkward so far. The Hornets put out this statement kind of welcoming him back. It was weird. Like, you should go read it. Like, it's amazing people get paid to do PR, and that's what they come up with. Like, Dalton Knecht coming back to the Lakers, like, that's fine. He's a good young player. The defense isn't quite there yet. It's fine. He's a rookie, right? It's not a big deal at the end of the day. Like, I don't think that's going to be awkward. He's a rookie. Like, that's kind of what you say. You're like, oh, okay, well, welcome back, DK. Like, he has to understand. Like, the move made a ton of sense for the Lakers at the end of the day. So It failed. That trade failed, and now the Lakers don't have a center. They have Jackson Hayes. We'll see if Christian Wood, Koloko, and, I don't know, Trey Jameson, one of them maybe makes the roster, but they have 15 players on the roster, I believe, now, so you have to cut someone. We'll see if someone becomes available. We want to give a shout-out to Shea because he scored 50 again. Shea is just on another level at this point, so we give a shout out to Shea. The Celtics signed Torrey Craig. So we'll pull Torrey Craig up here. He's been kind of dissing the Bulls since he left. I don't blame you at all. I love you, Torrey. I wish you the best. Liked having you on the team. But Celtics are getting a nice little player here. Basically, the Bulls bought him out. Celtics capitalized on it because he was on a cheap contract, and that's one of the few players they could go get. They round out their roster with a nice 3-and-deep 6'7" wing. Cool. He's experienced. He's smart. I think it's a great move by the Celtics, man. The rich get richer. Very cool for you. Then, speaking of buyouts, Ben Simmons was bought out, right? Which we kind of anticipated from the start of the season. Like, we're like, maybe he gets traded if, like, they need to move some major money in trades somehow, some way. But they buy him out. He wants to go play for a contending team. We did a whole video on it last week, which, again, you can go watch. Ben Simmons bought out. We were kind of theorizing where could he go next. We talked about the pros and cons of Ben Simmons. Kind of an interesting deep dive, right? We knew he could only go to a couple teams because of how the aprons work, because he made so much money before, and he's with the Clippers now, which we kind of theorized isn't a bad move. They could probably use another ball handler or two on this team, especially off the bench. Now, do I think he's going to play more than like 15 minutes a game? Probably not, but this team could use a little bit more size. They could use a little bit more playmaking. Very, very cool. Good luck to Ben Simmons, man. He was one of my favorite players at one point, and so, man, I'd do anything to see it come back. He was a fun basketball player. He was elite as soon as he stepped in the NBA. He really was. And for those people that are out there still kind of trashing the dude, like, just leave the guy alone, man. I don't know. It's a sad story to me, in my opinion. Let's talk about some good news, though. A couple two-way guys have made full-time rosters, which is really exciting to see. These young bucks right here that we're going to talk about, all of them, are now on, like, full-time contracts. And normally you'll see, like, 3-year contract, like 2-year contract. Normally none of those years are guaranteed because these guys are just barely making the roster anyway. But this, like, Jose Alvarado is like the glowing example of this stuff. Like, he basically made the team kind of out of out of effort and will and good play, right? And he got like a 3-year like minimum contract, non-guaranteed the whole time. So he's been playing on a budget for them for a while. So these teams sign these guys as like, okay, this is working right now. We can get out of it still whenever we want. But if you become a rotation player for us like this, then shoot, we've got a steal of a deal right now. So it benefits everybody, right? So first guy we have is Quentin Post for the Warriors, their 2nd round pick. And if you guys remember, when I did my true big board for the draft going in, Quentin Post was like the last name on there. I was like, look, I think it's going to take a very specific situation for this guy to find it, but I didn't put 60 names on the list. I think I had more so like 45 or something. And so I was like, look, I don't have anybody on this list that I don't think isn't an NBA player. I'm like, this guy could be an NBA player. I'm like, it's just going to take particular circumstances to make it happen. And we're kind of seeing it right now. It's the 3-point shot that's really interesting, but it's only been 14 games. And look, people are going to adjust over time and stuff, right? They're still gaining film on him. I guarantee you there's a lot of NBA players that are showing up and playing against the Warriors that they're like, who the hell is this guy on the court right now? What do I have to do with this guy? They're legit looking over at their like assistant coach and they're like, what can this guy do? And like, I'm so serious. That's how it goes sometimes. But anyway, people will catch up, but solid production out of Post right now. I don't want Warriors fans to do the thing that they always do. As soon as a young player starts to play one, be like, this guy's the future. He's everything. That's what you guys said about Trace Jackson Davis. It's what you said about Moody. It's what you said about Kuminga and everybody. And so just wait. This is going good right now. Let's wait. The next one guy that we have right here is Jamison Battle for the Raptors, who he's basically just a 3-point shooter. He hits 2 threes a game at a high clip. He's a big dude. Cool. That's exciting. Good for Jamison Battle. He's on a team where he's going to get some minutes right now. Next guy we got right here is we actually have Jordan Goodwin for the Lakers. That's now in a full-time contract for them. And I'm going to be honest, like Jordan Goodwin's not like a rookie. He's been around for a little bit. I actually think he's better than like Gabe Vincent. Like I think this guy could be a nice rotation player for him. He's only played in one like full game so far, but like for those of you that have been watching NBA basketball, like this guy's had good moments in the NBA in the past. So I actually think this can be someone that can actually help the Lakers out. Good for Jordan Goodwin. And then the thing Hornets fans were waiting for, the boy Musa. He made the roster. He made it, which is very exciting. He's actually one of the best defensive players in the NBA statistically. I believe he's like 96th, 97th percentile. And basically, gives a crazy effort. He's not the biggest dude in the world, gets a ton of rebounds and limited minutes, and just doesn't really mess things up, which is exciting. You love to see a guy that's working his ass off to make a team. He does it. Very, very exciting. Now, Mark Williams is coming back, and they have Yusuf Nurkic on the team now after a trade because they figured they wouldn't have a center at this point. So now what do you do with Musa? I'm very curious to see what ends up happening with that at the end of the day. Next thing, I told you there's a lot of news to cover in this. 3-point contest. It got named. Who's in the 3-point contest? Very, very exciting stuff. Here's the names that we got. We got Jalen Brunson. Cool. Should we pull up each guy to see where they're shooting from 3 this year? Below 40%. Kind of weird that you got named to it. It's close, but still. Then we've got Cade Cunningham, which is interesting because he shoots league average from 3. Interesting. I know we're trying to hype up Cade Cunningham and that things are going better, but that's a weird one. Then we have Mr. Darius Garland. Let's see if I can actually spell his name and get him pulled up here. 43% from 3. I can get behind this. This guy's like all-star level good and everything. Cool, right? Then we got Tyler Hero making it. And mind you, again, none of these guys were even within the top 5. Again, a little bit below 40% from 3. He shoots a lot of threes, though, so I get it. I totally get it at the end of the day. Then we got Buddy Hield, Buddy Bucket. Let's pull up Mr. Hield, if I could spell his name correctly, too. Even less, 37% from 3. Again, his whole thing is shooting threes. He's probably going to be good in the contest, but still. Cam Johnson, I'm pulling up all of these guys. I hope you guys know. You guys can fast forward in the video if you want to, but I want to make it known. 42% from 3. Cool. All right, I can live with that at the end of the day. Damian Lillard and then Norman Powell. So Damian Lillard, 37%. Again, takes a lot of threes. Like, he's a good 3-point shooter. We get it, but he's there. And then we got Norm Powell, who, look, he is the definition of a 3-point shooter right now. Like, 42, 43%. Awesome. How is Zach LaVine not in this, though? Like, why are none of the top guys in? I bet you Jokic just probably didn't care to do it, but, like, Luke Kennard would have done it. Taurean Prince, John Collins, Keon Ellis. Like, I'd like to believe these guys would have done it. Come on, NBA. Do a little bit better, right? Do just a little bit better. I actually wonder if I change this number here. Okay, so I can see the 6, 7. Look at me building my spreadsheets the right way and building these things in a way where it's valuable. We don't have Grayson Allen either. We don't have, so there's Darius Garland. He was 7. Then we don't have Amir Coffey, Zach LaVine, Ty Jerome. Let's go even deeper. There's Norman Powell. He shows up. AJ Green's not in it. Yeah, he was high on the list. Oh, there's Jamison Battle. Good for him. Karl-Anthony Towns. Like, he's done it in the past. Where was he this year? Gary Trent again. So kind of interesting that they didn't include any of those guys. I know those are the names and everything, but, you know, Is what it is. Final thing, Bones Highland got cut, man. He got traded from the Clippers to the Hawks. They waived him, and this is kind of a cautionary tale. We all like Bones and everything at the end of the day. If I can pull him up on here, we know he's a bucket getter. That's what he does. He's a little spark plug offensively. We all remember what he was doing for Denver before he got traded, and now he's a free agent. I'd love to see him end up somewhere else. I think he's a fun player to watch, but these little guards that can't really play defense, that just go out there and get buckets, there's not always a place for them on NBA teams. I will tell you that I think you need one of these guys on your team always, but he's never going to be high on the rotation. And that's why like guys like Cam Thomas are so interesting, right? Because you basically have to score as much as Cam Thomas does, because he's the exact same role as Bones, but he can score at this crazy level. And that's why he can get PT. But a guy like this is never like your top player. So it's important to remember that just because you score points doesn't mean you're a great NBA player at the end of the day. But we hope Bones gets a new job, man. We really do. Anyway, let's go into the rookie report. Alrighty, y'all, we're here at the rookie report. For those of you that don't remember, basically these guys are ordered in a specific way for a reason. We did our little study, found that typically points per game is what's the leading indicator in terms of who wins rookie of the year. There are other supplemental things that you guys can go read and zoom in on over here if you really want to at the end of the day. Again, 33 games to qualify. If we'll take a look at what it looks like if we just had the top 15 scorers up there at the end of the day, but let's go through it. Stephon Castle has had a very good week. I never look at these stats beforehand. I've got their weekly stats that I can pull up right over here so that we can talk about how they played in this last week specifically, but I read a lot of box scores, so I want to see how good I am at remembering. But I know Stephon Castle was hooping this week. Yep, 20 points per game through 4 games, 3 assists, 4 rebounds. The turnovers are still high, still a problem, and he shot well. That's awesome. Stephon Castle's looking good. He's coming off the bench pretty much now because Fox and Chris Paul are there, and that makes a ton of sense. This guy's role long-term, very curious to see at the end of the day, because like on a typical defensive possession, dude looks good. When it gets a little bit more complicated, he tends to make a lot of mistakes, so that's fine, right? Like rookies are going to make a ton of mistakes. This is a very exciting player in an organization that fits him really well. We're happy to see that. Alex Sarr, I believe, is still hurt, so we're going to skip him, but obviously we've talked about him plenty this year. Great on defense. Offense is improving. Reese Shea, since coming back from injury, man, things are going pretty well for him overall. 13-14 points per game, like respectable efficiency for a rookie. All said and done, not doing much else on the court, but he's had some high scoring output games as of late, and I'm not surprised by this. Like you often see like the start of a rookie season, it's a lot. It's just a lot at once. You're the number 1 overall pick. Like it's a weird team that you're playing for in Atlanta in a weird system that is much different than how he was playing in Europe, let me remind you. And you know, you're kind of going, you're just trying to stay afloat. You get hurt. You kind of just get to watch for a little bit and learn some things. I'm not surprised he's playing a little bit better since he's come back. Jalen Wells is next. He's been struggling as of late, and I think there's one of 2 things that are going on outside of maybe shots are just being missed, right? That happens sometimes. Either A, he's appearing on the scouting report a little bit more, right? Like he's a little bit more of a focus, so people are keying in on him a little bit. 2, the NBA season's really long, y'all. This is his first time not playing in like a 20-30 game season. He's already almost played 2 college seasons at this point. Motherfucker might just be tired at this point. It takes a long time to get into like this type of shape when you're a rookie. So just something to keep an eye on there. Zach Edey, he's playing in kind of just like his like 7th, 8th man role, doing it well. I know he starts sometimes and everything, but his minutes and everything suggest otherwise. But he's doing his thing, right? Gets points, gets rebounds when he's in. Can't play him too long, but it goes good when he's in there. That's awesome. Dalton Connect is now back. I believe he only played in 1 game this week because of the trade. Yeah, so just 1 game is what it is. Bub Carrington, he played well this week, and I was just about to say probably a poor plus-minus because the Wizards are bad. They're bad. Shout out Jordan Poole, who's still playing well, though. And he had like a 45-point game or something this week. But Bub Carrington had a nice week this week, so we celebrate that. It's hard to be a rookie point guard on a really bad team without your starting center. I mean, I think Rashawn Holmes is the starting center right now because Valanciunas also got moved. So there you go. Shout out Bub Carrington, man. We have to celebrate the good weeks when they happen. Yves Missy, I think he had another below average week this week. So not the most efficient overall, but still kind of the 7 and 8. It seems like we've kind of got pretty used to Missy being what he is. Again, I see him as a Clint Capella type long term where he'll just blend into things a little bit more, so we're going to appreciate it. but he's there. Kalel Ware, I want to say his shooting was a little bit lower this week. Okay, much lower, but still 9 points per game, 13 rebounds through 3 games this week, playing good minutes, basically starting for them a good amount of the time at this point. So we're curious to see what he does long term, man. There's a lot of skill in this guy. Tristan Da Silva, I know his minutes have been cut a little bit, but I didn't really guess the percentages, but these are probably higher than I would have thought they would have been this week. But the numbers right where I kind of expected them, that 5 to 6 points. The Magic are spiraling quite a bit right now. We'll talk about them later in the video, but I think they're paying a little bit for the roster construction that they have at this point. And again, we'll talk about it, but certainly benefiting efficiency-wise from having Franz and Paolo back. So good for him. Keyshawn George, I just know all the Wizards players played very well this week. Keyshawn George, 13 points, was very, very efficient overall this week, basically just being a catch-and-shoot guy for them. Good for him, right? That's awesome. We've definitely had our criticisms of him this year. Let's hope that we can see some more improvement going on. Jacoby Walter is on the list now, and so Jacoby Walter has had the complete opposite rookie season that I thought he was going to have. So he was efficient this week, 12 points-ish per game. That's awesome. He's been really bad defensively. I figured he'd be like solid defensively coming in and then struggle offensively. Like, I mean, you can look at the year numbers. It hasn't been great for him. I mean, you can look at all the year numbers here if you guys want to see people. Like, these are their... This is them on this whole season. These are the ones I'm pulling up over here on the week. And, you know, I try to break up between those two kind of ideas. But offensively, been rough this year. I mean, 7 points per game is nothing to knock at. It's not horrible efficiency. It's not good, right? But he's been really bad defensively. So let's hope that we can bring things up. When I say bad, he's lower 10% of the NBA. So let's keep some context here. Let's hope that we can learn some things. Ryan Dunn, kind of the complete opposite. Offense is struggling at this point. That's what we anticipated. Still great defensively. Minutes are shrinking at this point, but we'll see. Isaiah Collier is on the list now. 6.4 points per game. Dude's been like starting, and it's been weird. So like 13 points a game this week, right? 10, almost 11 assists per game. He's consistently getting 10 plus assists each of the last couple weeks. Turning the ball over like it's nobody's business, though, at the same time, and defensively been really bad. So I don't know what to do with this player. I'm not a huge fan of the style of play or anything, but he's interesting, right? He's just such an interesting physical build. I don't have high hopes long term, but let's hope, right? I am rooting for all these guys at the end of the day. Then we have AJ Mitchell, who I believe is still hurt. I'm still going to pull it up anyway, but yeah, he was, he was out this week. So good for him. He's still on the list. He still qualifies with 33 games. He also, I believe, made the full-time roster, so I didn't include that on there. Shout out AJ Mitchell. Well-deserved. He's been an awesome rotational piece for the Thunder this year. They continue to hit on everything. If we can go over some of the other interesting rookies, Reed Shepherd has still been struggling. He actually got some minutes this week due to some other people being out, and it didn't go well again. So it's going to take time to see if Reed's going to be good, man. It's kind of what I tried to tell people before the season. So we'll see. Ron Holland has fallen off the list as of right now. It was a rougher week for Ron. I know that for sure. Yep, the efficiency was rough, but I do remember him diving on the ground and saving a loose ball at one point. So shout out Ron Holland. He continues to give a great effort. Salon is still down in the G League, I know, so we don't need to talk about him too much. Klingon had a rough week. Let's talk about Donovan Klingon. I saw him shoot one of the worst air balls I've seen in a while. A 7'2", like 280-pound dude had Devin Booker on him, and he like completely, like not even just like a close air ball, a horrible air ball, and it's one shot. We don't care at the end of the day, but that's kind of a personification of how things are going for him offensively. The Trailblazers not making any moves at the deadline was pure insanity. I don't know what this team is trying to do right now, and I'm always frustrated with the Trailblazers. I just think they're horribly mismanaged. So is what it is at the end of the day. Rob Dillingham, shout out Timberwolves rookies. This was a win for Timberwolves rookies this week. They're starting to play basketball games. I know his efficiency wasn't great this week. Ooh, it was actually really bad. Ooh, but you know what? That's the give and take you're going to get with young spark plug point guards, so I'm not tripping about it long term. Overall in the season, still going solid, but they're giving the rookies more minutes, which is good. They're upping the pace in Minnesota. They're putting more just hungry dudes around Ants. Julius Randle's been out. They're playing way better basketball. That's what I've been trying to say the whole year. Get the rookies in. Get the rookies in. They'll at least get things rolling for you. They'll work hard. So good for them at the end of the day. Who's next? Cody Williams. Ooh, I don't think he played this week. I don't remember him. Oh, he did. He got 15 minutes in a game, and it didn't go well. Oh, we're rooting for you, Cody. We really, really are. We really, really are. Buzelis for the Bulls actually has been awesome since he's been starting. So shout out Buzelis. 16 points a game this last week. During 4 games, he's shooting really, really well all over the court. Defensively, looks good. Happy with that. I still have some concerns about the creation and stuff, but we can get better. Do I think he's like a star player in the league going forward? Not necessarily, but as a Bulls fan, I'm like, hey, at least he's playing well, so I'm happy about that. Shout out Buzelis, man. That's good for him. Devin Carter, things are still not really going well for him. Nope, 3 games this week, still rough efficiency all around. Who else do we want to talk about here? Jalen Tyson, I don't really care to talk about too much. AJ Johnson's on a new team. Terrence Shannon Jr. got minutes, and he looked good while he was in there. Let's play Terrence Shannon Jr. a little bit more. I know all the Timberwolves fans are begging for it. Who else do we want to talk about? I'm just scrolling through my list here. Jamal Sheed, kind of cool to see that the Raptors traded Davion Mitchell just because Jamal Sheed has actually looked solid, and that's something, again, we said in the pre-draft analysis where, like, we could see this guy being competent, and, you know, he's been competent this season for a rookie point guard, so I think they feel okay with him being a backup going forward. Who else do we want to talk about here? Obviously, we could talk about Quentin Post. He's been balling as of late, now a full-time player. If we looked at him this last week, 10 points a game, 5 rebounds, shooting it well overall. Very, very exciting. Is he going to be a defensive presence at all? I guess we'll find out. Bronny James, honestly, if we can talk about it. Oh, damn, I'm doing Bronny dirty. I still have his college picture on here. Oh, no. Killing it down in the G League, man. I'm still trying to tell you guys, this guy can be an NBA player. I promise you he will. If you have some bullshit reason for why he isn't, like, or if you just want to make some sly comment about, like, no, he's bad, try turning on your fucking brain for once and talk about why, because I promise you I cannot out-talk you about it. Other guys to talk about. Let's talk about Justin Edwards, who we've been highlighting a couple weeks in a row. I believe he's a full-time contract now as well, so we didn't include him as well, so I guess that's my bad. He's actually started a little bit recently, too. He was like the #1 player in his high school class. Dude's starting to hoop a little bit. We're up to 8 points a game on the year. Good 3-point percentage. Very respectable rookie. We just got to get those games played up right now. We just got to get the games played up, because where are we at currently? And then maybe he can be on the list. Justin Edwards here, it's 22 games, so he'll keep up, or he'll catch up. He just didn't play much at the start of the season. Last one is the other Timberwolves rookie, Jalen Clark, who dude's been shooting the shit out of the basketball as of late. So there we go. This was him this last week. 4 games, 10 points per game, shooting the absolute piss out of the basketball. Let's see if they keep playing all 3 rookies, man. Give them some minutes. Terrence Shannon Jr. should play more than all of them, but, you know, that's just my opinion at the end of the day. All right. Let's go talk about the standings. All right, y'all, last segment. The Cavaliers, well, haven't been quite as good recently. That you can tell they're just kind of trying to ease into the All-Star break that's coming up, so I'm not tripping about them. The Celtics look good. They picked up Torrey Craig, exciting. The Knicks, Anunoby's going to be back and everything, but they're staying afloat. Brunson's been hoping as of late, so shout out to them. The Pacers continue to just kind of win basketball games. They've got a good team around them. Who did they just pick up? Did they add another center? They moved Wiseman, and they got somebody else or something like that. They were a part of a trade in some capacity. I can't even remember exactly what they got, but Pacers trying to make little moves to get better. The Bucks, Giannis is down through the All-Star break, so trying to stay afloat. Things haven't been going great as of late. Kuzma's been an interesting fit, and it's very, very early, so it's going to take some time, but we don't have much time to lose at the end of the day. The Pistons keep being 500. Awesome. Good for Detroit, man. They picked up Dennis Schroeder at the deadline, which is an awesome little pickup. We had been talking about how the Pistons should be buyers at the deadline, but like tiny buyers. Just reward the team that's doing so well. And they're like, okay, you can have a little Dennis Schroeder here. This is a good starting NBA player. There you go. Awesome. Great pickup for them. Take some ball handling pressure off of Cade. They've actually been playing Asar Thompson at more point guard type minutes. Can we pull up Asar Thompson for this last week? How was his numbers overall? Yeah, now we're starting to get some Asar looking like Amen Thompson right now. Ignore the 3-point percentage. We understand you're not a smart person if you go on into the comments. You're like, he can't shoot the basketball. Shut up, you're dumb. Asar Thompson looking awesome. Starting to pick things up again. Very exciting. The Miami Heat. We'll see. No more Jimmy Butler. This team always surprises us. We'll see. The Orlando Magic. Yeah, no, it's not good right now. We've been saying on the channel for a while that the Magic can't do what they're doing, right? Like, it's great that they're developing this talent and they've got all of this, like, heart and belief and everything. And that's awesome. I love that. You've built the culture. That's hard. And you've got a young team, so it doesn't have to be right now. It does not have to be. But for this team to take the next step, you have to balance out the roster more. You don't have a shot creator on this team. You need someone that can go get you buckets, and they didn't go do that. No Anthony Simons, no Colin Sexton, no Kobe White, no even Jordan Clarkson or something. Like, you needed to go get somebody for this team. You cannot keep rolling out this roster. It's not good for Franz. It's not good for Paulo. And look, hopefully their numbers pick back up because they've been pretty rough recently, but the Magic need to know this. They need to know that they need to go get some actual playmakers and stuff like that. It needs to happen. The Atlanta Hawks and the Bulls are just sad franchises, especially after the deadline where it looks like both teams kind of got taken advantage of in some ways. So there you go. The Hawks moved DeAndre Hunter for basically nothing. The Bulls moved Zach LaVine for basically nothing. Very, very sad. The Sixers, can y'all just come into the play-in and take me out of my misery, please? They're playing 500 right now. Just play Embiid more minutes, please. Just do it. The Brooklyn Nets, we're watching you guys. You guys started to win a little bit there again. Stop it. Stop trying to play good basketball. Just lose basketball games. The Raptors are playing good recently. And again, we'll see, right? This isn't a very deep team. We could, I guess, take a look at some of the teams they've beaten recently. Okay, so they lost to the Thunder. They lost to the Grizzlies. Those are good teams. They lost to the Knicks, but they beat the Clippers. Okay, so maybe it's not as crazy as I thought. Okay, they were beating the Wizards, the Pelicans, the Hawks. The Hawks again. Okay, yeah, so it's kind of fake at the end of the day. So Raptors fans, hopefully you keep going down. The Hornets. Yeah, Mark's back. Let's see what happens with that. Let's watch his body to see if he breaks down. You don't have Dalton Connect anymore. Maybe you were excited about that. Wizards, not going good. And that's when people go, EVC, they won some more games recently. Yeah, NBA teams win basketball games sometimes. The Wizards are bad. The Wizards are very bad. They had a good trade deadline, though. Let's give the Wizards some credit, so we're not just shitting on them. They had a good trade deadline. They picked up Middleton and Smart, good vets to have on the team and everything. They picked up some draft picks. Good for them. Let's hope that they're going in a better direction. Good for you, Washington. The Thunder. Man, Chet's coming back, and they're still this good. Crazy. Grizzlies, awesome, right? Nuggets, awesome. They didn't end up making any moves, couldn't find any depth. They're going to have to roll with what they got. Maybe in the buyout market, somebody comes along. I don't know who it's going to be because they're an apron team. It's going to be tough. The Lakers are killing it right now. JJ Redick has got these guys moving right now. So shout out JJ Redick, man. I hope that this shows teams that they should stop recycling the same couple names in the NBA coaching world. Go find some people that actually know basketball, that'll be respected by their players and everything. Go do it. I'm looking at you, Phoenix Suns. Do the right thing. Hire a coach that makes sense. But anyway, the Lakers rolling. What happens when Luka comes in? We'll see. How long can they play without having any centers? We'll see, right? No offense, Jackson Hayes. I'm sorry. The Rockets, a little bit of a slippage as of late. It's a young team. It's going to happen. Amen still looks awesome. Rockets fans, don't think you're going to the conference finals or anything this year. I wouldn't be surprised if y'all lose first round or something like that. I'm so serious. I wouldn't be surprised if y'all got 4-0'd in the first round just because it's a young team. Come playoff time, this feels like a really easy team to game plan for. Just me telling you as a guy that makes those game plans, just telling you, it feels easy. So something to keep in mind, but this is a great season overall. Timberwolves, Julius Randle's been out, and you know who you've played more and things have gone better? Naz Reid, 22, 23 points per game since he's been out, and he's hooping, he's efficient. This should have been the solution all along. Play Naz Reid more. He's good with Rudy Gobert. The minutes make sense. The analytics tell us it's good. You got the rookies playing. Keep going, Minnesota. Let's go. Clippers, falling a little bit right now, but we'll see. They had a nice little deadline. They picked up Bogey for them, and you know what? I like Bogey. I know he hasn't been having a great season overall. I mean, we can pull up Bogdanovich here, and look, shooting numbers not great. That's the one thing he's typically really good at. He's been on a weird team this year, and he's been hurt. I'd like to think it's going to go better on the Clippers. So I think you guys got an absolute steal, and you guys got picks for taking him, which was nuts. Mavericks. You guys got the full Anthony Davis experience in one game. He dominated and then got hurt in a non-contact injury at the end, and apparently he's okay. So we'll see with this team. I don't know how Mavericks fans keep going, though. Have you guys been watching, before the games and stuff when they're doing, pregame reports, and all the reporters have to go, Dallas Mavericks fans, we encourage you to not choose violence as an option when you come to the games. They're genuinely concerned about Nico Harrison's, safety and everything. Get used to the internet. People make death threats all the time. It's fine. If you want to leave me a death threat in the comments below, I actually don't know if YouTube will suppress that or not. Yeah, someone give it a try. Let's see what happens, honestly. The Sacramento Kings. They're there. We'll see. They have Zach LaVine now. I don't think it's gone great for him since he's been there. This is a very strange basketball team, but we'll see. It didn't work having DeMar and LaVine on the Bulls. It seems like they're really good buds, and they're both good basketball players, but we'll see. The Suns, they got better at the deadline. How much better? Yeah, we'll see. Why don't they play Nick Richards more minutes? I don't understand. Like I said, coaching, I don't understand what they're doing there. The Warriors, They're 500 right now. Could this team go on a little run? I could see it. I could see it. The Spurs, they've got De'Aaron Fox now. We'll see how good that makes them, right? The Trailblazers, they're hooping right now. Like Tomani Kamara, like can we talk about Tomani Kamara right now? How's he been this last week? 10 points per game. Yeah, he's getting 8 rebounds, locking people up, shooting the ball well. Y'all got a nice player here in Mr. Kamara. Like Scoot Henderson's been hooping. Like y'all got something. But why are we winning now? I don't understand. And y'all didn't make any moves at the deadline. Let some of these good players play. I want more minutes from Kamara. I want more from Scoot, right? Like, I need to figure out if Shaedon Sharpe is good at basketball. Like, you don't need Ayton on this team anymore. And I know that would have been a hard one, but still. Jazz, they're being patient, doing smart things. I can't disagree with anything that they're doing. Good for Utah. You're going to keep losing games. Hopefully you get one of the top 4 picks. Pelicans, hard to watch, but at least Zion looks good, and he looks like he's in shape. And hey, that was your recap this last week in the NBA. These are always long videos to make, man. 50 minutes I've been recording. So I appreciate it as always, y'all. I really do. Stay tuned for the comment of the video. Alrighty, y'all. Our comment of the video. As a reminder, I respond to every single comment on my YouTube channel. You guys know that. And so this is just a little segment for those that aren't familiar, where I find one of my favorite comments posted on one of my videos and we kind of highlight it. But anyway, it comes from this Ben Simmons got bought out video, actually. And it's right here. Ben Simmons is the Ben Simmons of Magic Johnson. Shout out Trey Holland 8636 here. I like that one did make me laugh quite a bit. Like, I don't want to dog on Ben Simmons anymore, man. I really don't. But it's just that was a funny comment. So shout out you at the end of the day. And hey, I might, if I ever find some dumb comments or something like that, I might highlight them at some point too, because I think that could be interesting. And hey, it looks like I got more comments to respond to, so I'll get on to that. But hey, hope you guys have an awesome week. Talk to you guys later. Thanks so much. Bye.